Wait.
So, man, Detroit was an anomaly. I think that Detroit was it was where Ed Farhat, the Sheik, lived, and he made himself the top star. The top star was a non-speaking, um, portrayed himself as an Arab sheik, and threw fire, and had a pencil that he gouged people's heads with, and bled every single week and every single night that he worked. But he was able to sustain that and draw that because he was like the nastiest heel you could possibly imagine. He was able to book himself all over the country as an attraction because people had heard of the Sheik. All you had to do was show a picture of him, and you're like, oh my God. One of the heels that I talk about, when he came out, you were legitimately scared. You didn't know what this guy would do. If he would take a step towards you, you bounce back because holy cow, he's really going to come because he doesn't speak English. He's not from here, and oh my God, he's got this turban on, and I'm terrified of him. Oh my! And he would come out with a snake sometimes. You don't want to get near that snake. It's terrifying. So he was real. Man, it was like there was something about him. You rarely ever saw him out of character in any way, shape, or form. And he had this dynasty in Detroit. That was his home. He booked the Cobo Hall. He had top baby faces like Bobo Brazil. That, oh my God, the number of times that he worked with Bobo Brazil, I don't think anybody could count. But Sheik and Bobo would bloody each other up. They would beat the living hell out of each other. And Sheik could get top talent to come in. The Funks would come in to work with the Sheik. Dory would come in 1 week. By God, Sheik would bloody him up, hurt him. Here comes Terry. Terry comes in, same thing, bloodies him up. Oh my God, now Dory's coming back. Well, we're going to fight you together. Well, I've got something in my back pocket. The Sheik would bring in Abdullah the Butcher. And you would have these two crazy foreigners, is what they were called at the time. I understand that that is not a PC term these days, but that's how they were viewed. And that's how they were billed. So it was this foreign menace against, the Americans. By God, it doesn't get more American than Texas. God bless Texas. And they would fight. And everybody talks about the big blue cage in the WWE, man. You know the reason that the cage and that finish of, by God, you got to escape the cage to win? You know where that came from? That came from Bruno and Sheik having a cage match. Neither guy was going to do the job.
Oh, wow.
So you could beat the Sheik by escaping over the top of the cage, or you could beat Bruno by running from him and getting out of the cage first. That's the origin of that rule for the cage. Because in the South, cage match was a blow off. Nobody in, nobody out. You're in a cage, you're locked in. The guy that can walk out of the cage is the winner.
Did they do that escape the cage thing in New York or Detroit or both?
Both. Toronto, all over the place. It was mainly in northeast. If you go from Detroit to New York, that's pretty much and all up above in Canada, that's pretty much where that was the rule. Because it was easy. Guys didn't have to do a job. Very easy to beat the babyface when the object of the match is to run.
Yes.
But, Sheik was able to bring in talent from literally all over the place. You could bring in a Dusty Rhodes and work a program. Underneath, you had guys like Bulldog Don Kent, who was a good heel for them. The Sheik would use Eddie Cretcham as his manager, but he would also use Abdul Farouk, and that was the Grand Wizard, Ernie Roth. So the Sheik always had a manager. The Sheik always had, somebody with him, but he was terrifying. Never, never did promos. He would go out to do promos, but get on and throw fire and shit. Was one of the first guys to throw fire. And I remember getting so mad at Bill Apter one time because Bill Apter on the cover of one of the magazines, you see the lighter in the Sheik's hands. The Sheik is throwing the fire. I'm like, oh God, man, how could you guys show that? Because to me, that was an expose, man. It was like it just came from his hands. That was the deal. But Sheik had a very, very successful territory. Small. He ran Ohio. He ran Michigan. And
did he run any Toronto at all?
He did. But that was a Tunney territory.
Okay.
So the Tunneys had Toronto, and but Sheik would run Windsor. Okay. But for the most part, Toronto and all that shit, that was the Tunneys, and he would work in conjunction with them. But anything within that Detroit area, that was Sheik's territory, and nobody got near it. He was very successful in what he did. He would bring in baby faces. The underneath programs, a lot of times that's where the angles were. That's what drew as well. But I said that's what drew. Sheik drew. The Sheik drew. People wanted to see somebody take down this foreign menace at any cost. And so you would bring in these top guys from all over the country, and Mark Lewin, good Lord, come in and work with Sheik. Had a long program with the Sheik. Good looking guy, and Sheik would bloody up that face to the fans' horror. Oh my God. What can stop him? And can't you see he's got a pencil? He's got a pencil in his damn hand. Can't that referee see it? I can see it. Go back and watch the damn TV show. I saw it on there. Can't the referee watch that and go back and take it away from him? They don't check him good enough. I mean, but there was an aura, there was a mystique that I think until the day he died, that the Sheik kept the mystique. God, another beautiful sleeper hold. If you're watching on YouTube, Bobo Brazil putting on the Sheik. But the Sheik had these legendary matches, man, and was a guy that people paid money to see get beat. And that's the secret. And I thought that the Sheik had a great territory. I remember Gino Hernandez going up there and winning the United States Championship. I think he was 19 years old. Won the U.S. title first night in. Based on Paul Bosch calling the Sheik and saying, hey, got this young guy, he needs some experience. He's sent him to Mexico. He's been working for us. He needs to put some size on, but he needs experience elsewhere. Bring him in. Can he work? Yes. A lot of charisma. Great. Brought Gino in, first night in, won the United States Championship.
Wow.
Put him right up on top, man. And he worked, with Bulldog Don Kent, and kept him in the right spot, man, the whole time.